John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I've been in the credit industry for almost 30 years. I have spent time at FICO, which is the company behind the FICO credit scoring system, and also Equifax, which is one of the 3 generally recognized credit reporting agencies in the United States. And today's question specifically has to do with, believe it or not, that is a house. Not a good one, but that is it's more like a gingerbread house. Anyway, that's a house. So today's topic has to do with tenant screening, and specifically, can landlords pull your credit? Can tenant screening companies pull your credit? Can property managers pull your credit? Can apartment complexes pull your credit? Can anyone that is going to provide some form of housing pull your credit? And the answer is, it depends, all right? It depends. In order for any entity to access your credit report, and also for the credit reporting agencies to legally provide your credit report to a third party, there has to be something called permissible purpose present in the transaction. So in other words, there has to be a legitimate business reason for the accessing of the credit report. There are several permissible purposes listed in Section 604 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act that define what are the permissible purposes. For example, if I want a copy of my own credit report and I go to the credit bureaus, they are permitted to give it to me because I have permissible purpose, they have permissible purpose. If I go to a bank and I apply for some form of credit, that is a permissible purpose. If I'm a collection agency and I'm trying to track you down to try to collect a debt from you, I can pull your credit report for skip tracing. That is a permissible purpose. There are a variety of employment screening. If you apply for a job somewhere and you give overt written permission, they can pull your credit report as part of the employment screening process. These are all perfectly legal because there's a permissible purpose. It complies with Section 604 of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and you're good to go. Now let's talk about landlords and any sort of tenant-related screening. If there is a legitimate business reason for the credit report, then absolutely yes, they can access the report. And here's the legitimate business reason. Even though they're not a creditor, meaning they're not letting you borrow money like a bank, giving you money to lease a car, nothing like that, you can make a legitimate argument that an apartment complex or a landlord is providing some sort of valuable consideration to you in exchange for the promise that you're going to make a payment, meaning that they're giving you the ability to live in one of their units or live in one of their houses, and you, on the other hand, have agreed to abide by terms of a lease or a rental agreement, which very, very likely includes an obligation to make payments to them in the form of rent or lease payments every single month. So there really is an extension of credit going on here, just not in the, more common sense of the word, like if you're borrowing money from a bank and you agree to pay them back as part of your promissory note or your cardholder agreement. So what does this look like? Meaning, what is the practical effect of this? So when you go to rent an apartment, then the apartment complex is going to want to know whether to charge you a deposit or to even rent to you at all. I mean, your credit may be so bad that they may say, no way, we're not likely to get any rent payments from you because your credit's so bad, therefore we're not going to rent to you. Or on the other end of the spectrum, your credit may be so good that they're like, you know what, we're not even going to charge you a deposit because your credit is so good, you make all your payments on time. So that's kind of the pro and the con, the flip side of the good credit, bad credit duality with respect to tenant screening and lending and landlords. When they pull your credit report, because they have permissible purpose, it's going to leave an inquiry on your credit report, and that inquiry is going to be related to housing. So it's going to be very easy to see when you pull your own credit report. You're going to see the inquiry from the tenant screening company or the property management company and the date which they pulled the report. And then that report obviously is going to be used along with very likely other information used to screen tenants. They may pull things like criminal background checks, sex offender types of checks. So they may do more than just pull your credit report before they start leasing or renting some sort of a housing unit to you. The same thing goes for if you're renting someone's house. Even if it's just one guy who has one house and he's going to rent out that house, he could certainly go through one of these companies that sells reports for tenant screening, and you're going to probably have to pay for it, probably 50 or 60 bucks for that report. They're going to provide it to your landlord. You're going to have to sign documentation giving them permissible purpose to do so, and then they're going to use that report to determine whether or not they want to allow you to rent their house. Because again, in many states, and I don't profess to be an expert in the rights of tenants, you've heard the term possession is 9/10 of the law. When you get into someone's house, it's really hard to evict someone out of that house. And so it's actually much easier to do all of the screening up front under the guise of the Fair Credit Reporting Act and permissible purpose, and not even let someone into your house in the first place if they've got credit that is just so bad that they're simply not going to pay you. And look, if you lease an apartment and you skip out on your lease, meaning that you break your lease, you leave early, you destroy the apartment, and the property management company may go to a collection agency, and the collection agency is going to track you down to get payment on the broken lease or the damage that you left to the apartment. That collection is going to show up on your credit report, and guess what? The original creditor's name is also going to show up on your credit report. So it might be XYZ apartment complex. And so when you go to lease a new apartment or home, or rent a new apartment or home, if they pull your credit report, they're going to see that, and they can absolutely hold that against you with respect to the price they charge you, and also any deposit requirements, and again, whether or not they even want to let you into the unit in the first place. So if you have any questions about this process or permissible purpose, please drop them in the comments section below. You can also comment how awesome my little picture of the house is or how horrible it is. And I'll do my best to respond to the questions as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.